Hi, this is Dave Hoy, Technical Team Agronomist with LG Seeds, and this is your agronomy tip of the week. Today I'd like to talk to you about what to do at harvest. I know sometimes we have to sit there in the combine and wait on the grain cart guy to get done eating his ham sandwich before we can unload, and so we got a little time in the cab. One of the things that I'd like to ask you to do is hop out of that nice warm cab and go take a look at the corn. Let's look at the stalks and the ears and kind of evaluate how we did. Those ears are a good report card of our inputs and our fertilizers that we put in this year. And the stalks, they can tell us a lot about the growing season and how much disease was out there. And in a year like this, it's kind of important to know exactly what went on. So I've seen this a lot this year. We've got an area of the field where pretty thick stand, and yet we planted into cold, wet conditions. The roots didn't really have a good chance to grow down. And then we get rain and wind. And we get what we call the root ball pivot right there. The wind was strong enough and the ground was saturated to where the roots just slowly rotated in the soil and the whole stalk went down. Now check out this here corn right here. See this guy right here, as they're peeling back now, probably a late bloomer, right? But it shows us what can happen with an ear when it's under stress. As we peel that back, it pollinated pretty good. But we've got a little zipper right here. And those zippers definitely indicate some kind of stress or damage at some point here. As we look at these ears, this one seemed to pollinate pretty good all the way through. So it starts out pollinating at the bottom here, and then all the way up, gets to the top, pollinated real good, finished out the tip. That's pretty good. I think this corn had a pretty good year, okay? Now, we take a different look right here, and we got this, okay? So this is not necessarily a beer can ear syndrome or anything. You know, this has a stress tip on it, okay? So a little bit, that tells us, yeah, we have a good population and, you know, we had everything set about right. But this, to me, is just a little bit too much. If you can see, you've got these kernels out here that were pollinated, but boy, they just didn't finish. They aborted after pollination. That means that we had some serious stress right during that pollination. Could be high nighttime temperatures, which we did have around here, or it could be drought stress, could be a few other things too. But it looked like the corn pollinated pretty well up until the last few days, and then ran out of gas. A few of the stalk diseases that are pretty popular are Gibberella, Fusarium, Anthracnose. I see some Diplodia every once in a while, or some Pythium. But really the most that I've seen this year is pretty much the Anthracnose. But I'm sure that you could go out and find some Gibberella or Fusarium if you wanted to. Now the tricky thing about like Fusarium, when you look at that stalk, it looks pretty clean from the outside. But when you open it up, now this one's pretty clean right here. This is a good healthy stalk right here. But that interior will be all mushy and it'll have a little pink color inside of it, and that pith will start to deteriorate and turn that pink color. So that's when you know you got Fusarium. It can look pretty good from the outside, but it's awful weak. Now in the early stages of Anthracnose stalk rot, as we look at this one right here, this bad boy is starting to get some browning right here on the stalk. And as we open that up, we start to see that interior is starting to turn brown. And it's starting to, you know, really give up the ghost. And that's what's really going to cause us some problems when it comes to that stalk lodging. When we get that Anthracnose up in the top leaves and it moves all the way down the stalk and gets into here, and it makes those stalks weak. And man, that just slows down harvest, and then you start losing ears and everybody gets grumpy, including grain cart guy. So I know a lot of times we tell you, hey, go out and squeeze the stalks, pinch the stalks. If you can pinch them and they squish, then you know they're bad, right? So this guy right here, yep, we can squeeze it like Charmin, bro. But have you ever looked inside? That's what it looks like right there. It's crazy. It just, the vascular bundles inside are coming apart, the pith is starting to come apart, and this whole thing is just rotten all the way through. That's why we tell you to squeeze those stalks, because after a big wind storm, it's gonna kink right over. So that's it for this week's agronomy tip of the week. I hope you learned to listen to the ears out in the field. Ha ha ha. And squeeze those stalks.